Hello all, I am back here again, and now I'm making my Barbarian Build video. This is to give you a simple walkthrough of everything I do and the reasons I do it. I'm going to start with gear and go from
Servobot
there.
said caps lock joined party number 1.
I'm using my Protege Visor Helm for the simple 5% damage increase. I'm using the Furred Kiona for a single stack of Swordsman's perk, and I'm using an Ebonized Assault Ring for the second stack. You can only have up to 2 stacks of any one buff. I am currently using the Star Rover's gloves because I want to test the stacking damage buff. It's been hard to keep the buff up, but that's just because you stand still sometimes when you're doing certain moves, but it's easy to build back up. I'm using the Burnished weapon set because the buff stays up all the time. Healing, health stones, health potions, self-healing moves, and just having a healer in a party keeps the buff up nonstop. I'm using the Successor boots for the added combat advantage so I can reach my caps, which is really helpful for creating extra damage. I'm using the Orcus set, which consists of Baphomet's Talisman, Demogorgon's Girdle, and the Shard of Orcus, because it's still the single highest and biggest damage boost from any set. Nothing outperforms it DPS-wise. My second ring is a Shadow Stalker for a 2.5% damage buff. My shirt is an Ebony Stained Raid shirt. I have the Armor Pen Combat Advantage one. It's the stats that I most needed for DPS, and I have it so that I can get the 3% damage increase. And then I'm using Protege Raid Pants. Use whichever ones give you the stats you need is what I'd say. I am using 2 of the Storyteller's journals, and that's so that I can get the set bonus you see there, the 1,000 power, 10,000 hit points, and all attributes +1. And as my primary artifact, I'm using the Envenomed one, so that I can have the increase to my AP gain, increase to my damage by 5%. You know, there's some great uses for it. As far as the powers I use, it's just like the good old days. I'm using Sure Strike and Relentless Slash, which is the equivalent of Weapon Master Strike. I am using Bloodletter, which is a self-heal and does proc your Burnish set. I'm using Indomitable Battle Strike, and I'm using Frenzy. There are many out there that use different powers, and that's okay. You use what is comfortable for you. This is what gives me my damage and my self-healing. I use Savage Advance and Avalanche of Steel. Savage Advance is my big damage single target. Avalanche of Steel, big damage multi-target. As far as class features, I've changed around a lot of times, but currently I'm using Steel Blitz for the chance to do extra damage because, well, it procs a lot, and I'm often using my Relentless Slash in mobs. And I also use Barb Strikes for the huge bump in my crit severity. I do use Relentless Speed as a feat, but I'm not slotting not so fast anymore. I also use Indomitable Rage to increase the damage of my Indomitable Battle Strike. I tried Blood Spiller, but it hits me too hard, so outside of a party with a strong healer, there's really no point. I do use Overpenetration because it's nice to have an extra 10% damage buff. I'm using Steel Slam to increase Avalanche of Steel's magnitude and the AoE effect it puts out. And I'm also using Relentless Battle Rage. Yes, it lowers the damage dealt by 5%, but Escalating Rage is a self-stun. It's pretty silly to use because if that gets off at the wrong time anywhere, you're dead. As far as boons, feel free to pause the video and see what I've chosen. I am currently using Deathly Rage for the damage increase because I'm killing stuff quite often, and it gives me a little bit more combat advantage. Everything else, though, is pretty self-explanatory. Go ahead and pause it and see what I'm using. For companions, I am using the Boulette Pup. For me, it is the best choice. Combat advantage, defense, and power. I love those stats. All rank 15 bondings because why not? If you can do it, please. Bondings are going to be your single best investment still. So please bump them up as high as you can. I use 2 choke chains for the accuracy and actually really for the combat advantage, which I'm going to trade out as soon as I finish the fragmented expeditions. And then I'm also using a plated belt of the companion just to make sure I hit my defense and get some high awareness. You can see the companions I'm running. You're welcome to look at anything. People used to all say potency was the best way to get the 2k power. I'll tell you right now, power is easy to reach. The crit severity being up by 5% is a much bigger help. Raptor's still broken. I get 10k power out of it. Then after that, you're welcome to pause the video to see what I'm using. I use the Ion Stone of Allure just because of the incoming healing and power. The broom is nice crit severity, and this is the new companion. I'm using it to help reach numbers because ideally I want to be in Tower of the Mad Mage. So the 16k hit points and 2k power there is really nice. I'm at 327 right now. I actually have a mount I sometimes change to. Let's see here. It's the butterfly one, and it puts me up to my 340, and I'm still at good power. I need some other stats still before I'm in tome, but at least that gets me started, right? As far as mounts, I generally use, let me find it here as I scroll down, Fierce Predator. It gives me 5k power, 5k armor pen. The extra armor pen is for the feat I used. It gives me a 10% damage bonus. And I use a lot of legendaries. It's all dominance except for a few because honestly I just can't afford the brutality. So I just get a little extra combat advantage or a little extra defense depending on what stats I'm missing. Or a little extra armor pen. You know, everyone has to play it by ear. I do highly suggest the triple gladiator guile for the run speed. It means I don't have to sprint, so I can keep the damage up from my ebony stained raid shirt. I also use 1 Artificer's Persuasion to reduce cooldowns every minute, and I use Cavalry's Warning because I have the legendary mounts, so that I can get 1,000 to all my stats for 10 seconds. I use my Tyrannosaurus Rex on my Barbarian because it gives a nice debuff for the whole party. Keep in mind they no longer stack, so if you see someone else pop theirs, wait 5 minutes. This is my basic build. My rotation when I fight is always start with Relentless Slash. If it's a big group, honestly, I usually just Relentless Slash until it's dead. If it's a boss, it's Relentless Slash, then Bloodletter, so that I can proc my Burnish set, and then I just roll into everything else I have for DPS. You can see I run a Health Stone. I run the Chain of Scales. Yes, it's only rank 6. I don't like CODG. And now I'm using the Alliance Battlehorn because of the nerf to the Doohickey. The Doohickey's only great for tanks now because it gives you that hate initially. As a DPS, it just isn't worth it. The Battlehorn's a better use of the slot. Thank you very much. This is my first build video. I hope you got a little information out of it, and I look forward to sharing more.